Alright, hey everybody, it is Umber Rays here today. And I just thought, what if I had like an intro that was just like, hey, it's your boy Umber Rays here. Wouldn't that be weird? So, I wish I had a better segue. So tonight we are going to be taking a look at a bunch of different things to do with just what's going on and what came in the recent update, which was a really massive update. Maybe dispel some rumors, some things that people do and do not know, and where else to start but right here in the banner section of the game. Just because there is just so many banners. With gold banners, I believe, like, I counted it on stream and it ended up being roughly about 47 banners currently on JP, and most of them lasting a total of over 10 days, which means, yeah, a lot of these banners are still going to be here come next month, with a couple of notable ones. So the highlighted stuff, I mean, if you are looking for tactics-based things, you have just so many choices. If you're looking for snow, you have so many choices. Personally, I am still not 100% decided upon Snow versus Agrias myself, just because Snow's abilities, his guts, or Immortal Spirit, is really annoying. In the same way that Little Leela, her 100 cost version, is also really annoying. So, yeah, it's, but I still think that Agrias kind of looks a little bit better in my eyes, so I'm just not going to call that one yet. But here we have the Final Fantasy 35th anniversary, and honestly, the banners just aren't really that special. The Vision Card one might be a little bit better, but what you can do with the coins from this might actually qualify. But yeah, shoutouts to the fact that there is like 47 active banners, including gold banners, but not including the two ones at the bottom, because why would we? It's just a lot of things to be active at a single given time. And it also lags the screen out pretty hard. Even on a mobile device, it could create a fair amount of lag. Here on the BlueStack side, yeah, you know, there's a significant amount of downtime. So let's hop over to the shop and show what's available here. Really quickly, of course, there are some new purchasing things. There's still the 25th, yeah, 2.5 anniversary, with some notable things like a 40 unit selector for 300 lapis. I mean, if you're paying, then it's probably a generally good deal there. Through here, just some stuff for this event that you can end up getting, which is kind of nice, but nothing too special. As for the snow shop, Snow is pretty much just Lightning and Hope's version, just with him instead. And of course, the Vision Card, which I'm going to be working on maxing over the next little bit, is probably the most important thing in the shop, especially if you're an Ice Elemental person. As for the Final Fantasy Tactics shop, however, I do have some good news for people. There are no bingo boards that have come back for the characters specifically, but at least there's a fair amount of good options for racking up some shards, some that we'll talk about in the Moogle shop for a bit, but even older characters that haven't been around for a really long time, and especially the House of Beluov card, or, well, basically the General Speed card. All of this is accessible in 3 packs, which is nice because that is a fair amount of shards you could potentially get for a character that you are trying to max, like me with Orlando, for example, or heck, even the Chocobo card, for example. Just a fair amount of places to decide what you are looking for. Next up, we have just this shop. This is for the Final Fantasy 35th anniversary, and you got some selector shards in here. I wouldn't say that they're too amazing of a deal here. Effectively just getting some bonuses for purchasing this with paid lapis, but for free lapis, again, just like the Tactics character, there are triple bundles for all of this, and probably more important are the vision cards again. I think that the vision cards, especially like the the Final Fantasy X water damage card, the hold on, I'll get there. The Guard Scorpion card and the Tifa card are all really important for their elements, and some of the other cards are potentially important too. So nice little way to pick up some extra stuff. And that takes us over into the next shop, which is this. So here we have a lot of the same stuff from past. As for the Final Fantasy Tactics event shop, unfortunately, no shards. This feels really, really cheap, guys, in terms of, you know, what we were expecting. I think they could have put 40 shards for each character in this shop, and it really would not have made or broken it at all in terms of how much there is. So, yeah, it's just kind of disappointing, and Gafgarian does have his own shards, so that's a little bit disappointing, as you are not going to be able to earn Final Fantasy Tactics EX orbs from Gaf. Sorry, everyone. That's just the way it is. Alright, continuing down, Snow has his own pity. The Vision card obviously has a similar type of banners that you would see for a Vision card. As for Final Fantasy Tactics here, you can see another chance to potentially get some character shards or orbs. Orlando has his pity through here. Delita and Agrius have their pities through here. And really, really important to note about this one is the fact that Ramza's not here, because Ramza has his own banner where you can guarantee him for 6k, but no guarantee for free Lapis. Alright, so where do we head to next? I don't think there's really too much to talk about in this region, so we'll jump over here and kind of conclude in the weapons section. So what do we got? Well, Deep Dungeon is back, and I'm really glad that it is back because it's a pretty cool little event, and I feel like they should do more of these. But there really isn't nothing new here. There's absolutely nothing new, and there really isn't much in the way of rewards, where the Agrius improvements or the recipe for the Agrius sword improvement I will show you in a second. But yeah, this is just basically able to complete auto if you've been playing the game for a long amount of time. However, I will say this, it is unbelievably satisfying to beat the living snot out of these chocobos. If you were playing back then, you may have had a difficult time against these chocobos. Especially if you were unaware of how the map worked and everything. It was really easy to get clobbered, and it's kind of fun to go back now and just beat the ever-loving Tar. So long story short, KFC got a big shipment of Will Meat this week. Alright, and next up, let's head through here really quickly. Some notable things: Final Fantasy 35th anniversary, you get 3 of these attempts per day, which give you selector tickets, and these selector tickets are just for the job orbs for Final Fantasy characters. Honestly, not a bad thing. I don't think they'll ever get updated in the future or anything like that, but I guess if you were not 120 some of the characters and you were looking to potentially cut down on using the aimless orbs, this is a good way to do it, and it's generally pretty cheap to farm this and really easy. All the tactics maps are back with the inclusion of I think it does include a new difficulty, because I don't remember this being there at the time. I'm definitely going to call that as new, and then we'll just jump over to a couple of weapons, because there's a few weapons to talk about tonight. First of all, the new Snow's, well, it's the Tiger Claws, and it is, I mean, it's Snow's weapon for all intents and purposes, and it's fine. I don't think that this thing is really incredibly amazing. It's a little bit more towards, what's the word? A defensive type weapon where from the start of battle you get 3 turns of AoE resistance. It's good for a tank. It's really not doing much for Snow's damage. It's a little disappointing we didn't get a UR weapon from him off of a Final Fantasy 13 event. Maybe there just isn't a Final Fantasy 13 event. And that's also kind of sad. Next up, Nagnarok Returns, and it gets its +6. I don't think that this is another one that gets anything too crazy. The big thing here for this piece of equipment is that you're getting 1,000 up on the damage cap, which is probably pretty good for chaining type missions in the future. Is it going to be the best? No, we all know that there is really good weapon types out there. It gets a little bit of a boost, but not too terribly much, just enough to be a consideration for how cheap it is to craft and everything. New players will definitely like it. All right, and as I look through the big long list here, trying to find where the heck Agrius' sword. Oh, I know why. It's because I that. So Agrius' sword from the Final Fantasy Tactics events, the extra recipe is obtained through bingo boards. There is one bingo board, but it's essentially just a tactics bingo board, and it just gives some Gafgarian shards, some awakening mats, and last but not least, the recipe needed to upgrade this piece of equipment. And really doesn't get too much. It's only 178 attack max now, 101 magic, 28 accuracy. It's a pretty good weapon for an ice sword based character like Gilgamesh, for example. And it does get ice attack up of 30 now, and I think slash attack by 8. Perfectly fine weapon, not overly exciting, but it's pretty easy to get, so that's why I would assume that it is just the way it is. And last but not least, the accessory, which I can't remember what it's called from the Tactics event. I know I have a few of them. I never made a +5 back then. And yeah, this was just something that I kind of made a few of them and used them a few times, but too terribly much elsewhere. Sortilege. And I remember someone in chat told me something really funny about this earlier. But anyway, evasion rate, blind, resistance for self. But the new thing for getting it up to a +6 is it grants a following effect of upon hit, 20% attack increase when performing a critical hit or for magical. So kind of a little bit of an offensive weapon, which is interesting. As for its overall equipment stat buffs, I mean, the shield or the barrier versions are still the best version because they're giving 14 of their respective either defense or spirit, and 7 for the other off version. So yeah, nice little piece of defensive equipment too. And that's kind of the what we got this week. A fair amount of stuff. Some triple farming going on right now, which is something that I need to get back to relatively quickly. And of course, a bunch of new characters and everything, which I think by now those reviews have probably gone up. And yeah. Anyway, so I hope that you found this informative and potentially interesting to take a look at what's going on and what will be in your future of 47 banners to spend a buttload of lapis, potentially maxing vision cards, characters, and whatnot. Oh, wait, no, we're not done, because I did forget one thing. And that was a pity for the 35th anniversary shop. I knew there was something else I wanted to talk about. So this is a shop. So if you look down here, it has the character shards and the vision card shards, and nothing of that is particularly special, right? However, there are 2 selector tickets as well. So there are selector banners, but there are also selector tickets, and the vision card one is only 500, which is about 10,000 lapis, which, you know, is essentially what the banners go for. But, I mean, the selection for this, if you were looking for one of these vision cards, might be okay to just roll on the regular banner and see what you get, or instead of having to do the paid one. And that is notable. There's also a couple other exchanges you could do if you lucked out on your way up there, including some cheaper version, or a single cheaper version of 2 selector. Here, 100 unit shards for a Final Fantasy character of your choice, and here a vision card of your choice. Both of these kind of nice. I mean, 250, which would be roughly about 5,000. to get 25 shards of your choosing if you were short on resources. Might not be the worst thing of getting off of a very short pity on the banner. Of course, depends whether you are willing to throw down the resources. But yep, that's all. Now we're done. Thanks for watching. See you next time.